We are Soccerphiles Canada. Check us out by searching International Soccer Preview. Welcome to Series 30, looking at the players of the 2025 Gold Cup. This episode is looking at the players of Honduras. Part 2, the selections. Here we go! And here we want to welcome listeners to the short version of the mediacast. For those listening to Section 2, this will be kind of a review of everything we've covered, but for Section 3, it'll be your motorcycle ride through the Honduran team as we review who was selected and also who we think are going to be the starters. So get on your bikes and ride. Here we go. We have the manager, Reynaldo Rueda, leading them through the tournament. We'll consider him a selection for the final squad. For goalkeepers, we have a definite candidate, or we had, when we did part 1, a definite candidate in Edric Menjivar. He was selected. We had 2 likely candidates, Marlon Licona and Harold Fonseca. To our surprise, Fonseca was not selected just for the preliminary squad. Licona was selected. Replacing Fonseca was the return of veteran Luis Lopez, who we had at the possible but unlikely level, having drifted off the squad over this period. For starters, Menjivar started both of the warm-up games recently, so we don't think his starting position is challenged by Luis Lopez here, but we do think that Lopez might take over the first backup position, or the second string keeper position. That's goalkeepers. We move on to central defenders. We had a definite candidate in Luis Vega. He was selected. We had 4 likely candidates, but only 2 of them were selected. So Daniel Maldonado and Raul Garcia made the final cut. However, Marcelo Santos and Devron Garcia only made the preliminary squad, a bit surprising. We had a possible candidate in Julian Martinez, who was selected for the final squad, but the other candidate, Carlos Melendez, not selected. Probably due to injury there, and we won't deal with candidates below that level unless there's a reason to. So let's talk about starters. We couldn't nominate a definite starter here, but we think Luis Vega is likely, and the player alongside of him could be anyone that we mentioned: Daniel Maldonado, Getzo Montes, and Julian Martinez. Kind of in that order is our thinking. Let's go to the left back. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Getzo Montes was a new candidate introduced to the squad when the final squad was announced. So, sorry about that. We move on to left backs. We have no definite candidate here, but Joseph Rosales was a likely candidate, and Franklin Flores also a likely candidate. However, Rosales was selected while Franklin Flores was not. So another surprise there for us. We had 2 possible candidates: Javier Arriaga, not selected even for the preliminary squad, and Ellison Rivas at least making the preliminary squad there. In terms of starters, we're almost ready to say Joseph Rosales was a definite starter, but we're not that brave. So we say likely starter Joseph Rosales, and first backup central defender Julian Martinez came into the position for one of the warm-ups. So we think he was being tried out for the backup position there, so might be the backup. On the right side, a weird situation. We had definite candidate Andy Najar not making the cut. He was on the preliminary squad, but not making the cut. Our 2 possible candidates were both selected: Carlos Mejia and Christopher Melendez. And yes, we won't deal with candidates below that, but I won't forget to announce the new candidate here, just named to the preliminary squad and then the final squad, Luis Santamaria. There. The weird thing over here is that despite not being selected, Andy Najar did start both of the warm-up games, so we were a bit boggled by that. But there we have it. As a result, we end up saying that we think the starter is undefinable. We were fairly sure it was going to be Andy Najar, but we do have Naylor Nunez as a possible. No, he wasn't selected. So yes, very much undefinable over here. On to the central midfield here. We begin with a versatile midfielder, Jorge Alvarez. In truth, more of an attacking midfielder, but he appears all over the field. He was a definite candidate and he was selected. Next, defensive midfielders. We have a lot of names here. First, definite candidate Davy Flores, unsurprisingly selected for the final squad. So was Kervin Arriaga, our likely candidate, but only one of our three possible candidates here was selected, Carlos Pineda. The other two, David Ruiz, maybe an injury issue there, and Jacques Jean-Baptiste, both only making the preliminary squad. And we won't go into the players below that. Before we talk about starters, though, we'll look at other positions in the central midfield, namely central midfielders. However, not many candidates here. We only had one at the possible level, Brian Acosta, and he only made the preliminary squad. Yeah, that's all we'll look at here. So let's go to starters. We consider Davy Flores a definite starter, one of the most sure things on the team, and likely starter also Kervin Arriaga, so pretty stable in this part of the pitch. Possible starters would be any one of several attacking midfielders, maybe our versatile midfielder Jorge Alvarez, Edwin Rodriguez, or Alexander Lopez. We'll meet both of those guys soon. So they tend to put one kind of defensive-minded central midfielder and one more attacking one when they use something like a 4-4-2 formation. Okay, we move upfield to attacking midfielders. We have possible candidate Edwin Rodriguez, does appear in various positions and was selected for the final squad. Edwin Rodriguez. For left attackers, we had no candidates at the definite level. We really saw in section 2 that the situation up front is very fluid, so we may see various players in various positions. For example, here, our two likely candidates, Luis Palma is coded as an attacking midfielder, Jose Pinto as a forward, but you really could find them anywhere, and that's true of several players here. Anyway, both of those, Palma and Pinto, were selected for the final squad. Among our possible candidates, Carlos Mejia only made the preliminary squad, and Christian Sakaza not even that. However, we do have a bit of a surprise with one of our possible but unlikely players, Alexi Vega, making the final squad there. So in predicting starters, we again aren't bold enough to name a definite starter, but we think Luis Palma is a likely starter with the possibility of switching flanks, as he did in both of the warm-up games there. I think the manager made that decision solely to confuse me. Possible starters on the left side would be Jose Pinto and versatile attacker Edwin Rodriguez. Okay, on the right side, we have no definite candidate, but a likely candidate, Romo Kyoto, making a comeback into the team and selected for the final squad. However, our possible candidate, Rigoberto Rivas, not selected there, and just for the preliminary squad. And we do have a new candidate here in Dixon Ramirez, named to the final squad, despite never having even appeared on the bench. In terms of starters, we can't nominate a definite or even a likely starter over here, so we just hedge our bets with possible starters Romo Kyoto and Edwin Rodriguez. On we go to the central attacking position. They do use this quite a bit, actually. We won't dwell on all the details that we covered in section 2. We'll just say that we ended up with likely candidate Alexander Lopez, who was selected for the final squad, and that's all we had over here. We moved some other players coded as attacking midfielders around. Here too, we can't nominate a definite or likely starter, but possible starters, if they use the position, would be versatile midfielder Jorge Alvarez or Alexander Lopez. On to the forwards, our last category. We have no definite candidate, but two likely candidates, Jorge Benguche and Houston Arboleda, both of those making the final cut. We had 6 possible candidates, but only one of them made it. The first one is Choco Lozano, or Anthony Lozano, but all of the others only making the preliminary squad, except for Douglas Martin, who didn't even make it to the preliminary squad. The 4 making it to the preliminary squad were Eddie Hernandez, Rubilio Castillo, and Juan Carlos Obregon. So in the end, just 3 forwards among many names that were chosen. And that is it, our Spotlight Review. Check us out by searching International Soccer Preview. We would like to thank Future Bass for the wonderful music you hear in this podcast. The title is called Alone.